Welcome to another episode of UCRD Reviews. So this time I have one of my favorite Federation One-Year War designs, the RGM-79SP GM Sniper 2 in the version anime line. So the GM Sniper 2 first appeared in Gundam 0080 War in the Pocket, where it was deployed against the Cyclops team Kempfer in an effort to stop the Zeons from destroying the Gundam Alex. Now, it was deployed under the Scarlet team, which was the most garbage Federation team I've ever seen, where all the mobile suits were deployed shortly after touching ground in the colony, including a couple GM Sniper 2s. But luckily, the Sniper 2 appears in many other medias, like mangas and video games, most notably the side story 0079 Rise from the Ashes game, where it's used by the White Dingo team in a modified form. So when they announced the version anime release, I was really excited, and it looks really good. It comes with some effect parts, it seems, and it's a good addition to the 0080 line. You can see they're recreating the scene right before the GM Sniper 2 gets completely obliterated by the Kempfer. You have a nice side profile right there, and everything looks really good. The front box art is really neat too with the sniping position. So let's take a look and see what's inside. So here's the GM Sniper 2. Now the GM Sniper 2 had a pretty limited figure history. It was released in 2010 in the Robot Spirits line, randomly, for its figure debut. And now we're getting it in the 0080 version anime line. And it's a pretty solid release. It does look a bit different from the original release. I actually prefer this version. Some people were kind of torn between the two, but I really like this one. Right off the bat, if I could have a complaint on it, it would probably be this seam line right here. I don't know why they had the two pieces of the head connect right there at the focal point in the head. But other than that, everything else looks really good. The antenna is done well. It is pretty fragile. You do get a replacement somewhere in that box. All the backpack, the thrusters, and everything look good. It does have the chest flex, which has become pretty standard. Has some really good articulation in the arms and legs. These little pieces here kind of worry me. Very similar to my review of the Cold Climate GM and the Gundam Alex. These have a tendency to stick. It's not doing it now, but the clicking you heard earlier and right there is it sticking, and I'm afraid that it's going to get jammed. Actually very similar to my Johnny Ryden's High Mobility Gelgoog, which I noted in its review. Other than that, it has a lot of hard points for thruster effects. You have 2 in the legs, 2 in each foot. You have 4 back here. You do have the beam saber storage racks right there, and you have some really neat features. So let's take a look at the accessories you get with the GM. So first things first, we'll go through the hands here. Let's see here. So these are the beam saber holding hands right there. We do have some more neutral hands. You get some posing hands here, or for holding the rifle, and you get some trigger hands. Now, some of the accessories are actually taped underneath here. One of those is the hand rack that comes with all the Robot Spirits figures. So we'll get into that here real quick. If I can get this open here. Another neat thing it comes with is actually a sticker sheet. So there's the hand rack there, pretty standard. And you do have this sticker sheet, which is pretty cool. It comes with the different numbers as well as an emblem there. So let's take a look at the weaponry, because that's where it gets really fun. So first things first here, you do get 2 beam saber handles, which are being really finicky. So they're accurate to what the GM Sniper 2's beam saber is supposed to look like. And then in that package I showed just a second ago, you do have 2 blades. So the beam sabers can also store on the rear skirt armor as well in the recharge racks, which is primarily where I will be keeping these pieces here. And they just store right like that. It looks pretty good too. So the next piece here is the 90mm bullpup machine gun. This is the same one that comes with the Cold Climate GM. It's a single piece and it has a hard point here for a firing effect. And it has a little green paint for the camera there. The magazine is not removable. And we also get the shield for the GM Sniper 2 with the Federation emblem there. It does have the regular handle. It also has, not that piece, this piece. So you can also attach this, and this attaches it to the arm. You'll want to remove the handle. And it basically slides into these little slot pieces on each side of the arm. And hopefully it'll click into place. There we go. And it clicks just in like that. Now there is this big piece here up top. And this is actually, let's see, we'll remove this. It's actually for holding the machine gun. And it clips in just like that. You could still use the regular handle for the shield, or not, send your machine gun flying. But it should, in theory, go right like that, and then you can do it on the other side as well, which is a neat little gimmick, although I've never seen the GM Sniper 2 have that. Now, oddly enough, the GM Sniper 2 actually comes with a bazooka storage piece for the Hyper Bazooka that comes with the Gundam and many other releases. And there's actually panels on the back here, very, very tiny panels that you can remove, and you can place the bazooka storage here and actually store it upright on its back, which is a really neat idea, except that you don't get a Hyper Bazooka in this release, nor have I seen them use it a whole lot. Now another weapon you get here, the main weapon, is the sniper rifle. It is a projectile-based sniper rifle, and it has a really neat green glass piece for the scope on the front and the back. It looks like glass, but it's really plastic. It has a hard point for a firing effect. And this is the updated design of the rifle. So it has this really curved trigger here, or not trigger, but handle, and then the stock that I'm not too big of a fan of. I like the more traditional rifle design that the older figure came with. But this actually has a storage piece as well. And that's this little piece here. So you also have a hard point on the other side for storage. And you can attach that. And the rifle can store right like that, which is pretty neat looking. It can also store back here in this little hatch, and I believe it'll store upright, and then you can just reverse the orientation of the rifle like so. So you have options for storage, which is pretty cool. I do like that they included that. But let's get into the effect parts real quick. Actually, before we do that, the shield comes with this little piece here, which you can't see because of my fingers. And it can attach right there. And then there's a hard point up here where you can actually store the shield. And it's kind of like the Gundams and whatnot, where it's not the easiest thing to actually place. But the shield can be stored on the back as well, which is pretty neat. And you can put the machine gun in there and everything, which is cool. Now, for effect parts, you get 2 thruster effects, which are pretty standard. They're not too curved. and they can, let me take the shield off here. They can fit inside the main thrusters or really anywhere on the figure. You can put them down here on the legs. So it's pretty cool that they included these. You also get a beam saber slashing effect, which is pretty standard. This is also underneath in the tray. And oddly enough, you get this. This is a beam firing effect. My only issue with this is that the GM Sniper 2 doesn't actually come with any beam weaponry. So I don't understand why you would have a firing effect for the rifle when it doesn't actually fire beams. It would be just as ridiculous to put it on this gun. But they included it just because it's, you know, one of those standard effect parts for a Federation mobile suit. So we get it, I guess. So the GM Sniper 2 overall is a really good figure. I do have some very minor complaints about it, which I don't want to detract from it being a really good figure, but there are some very, very minor things that kind of irked me with it. One thing was the effect parts. We got a bunch of generic effect parts. I think a machine gun firing effect, or even a proper rifle effect would have been really nice. Not only did we get some generic stuff, but we even got one effect part that's completely useless with this mobile suit given the accessories that we got. So that, I think, can be chalked up to laziness on Bandai's part. Other than that, the spring-loaded pieces on the arms, again, they kind of worry me. I know they're part of the design, but you know, I feel like those pieces can be breakable. I've had some trouble with them in the past, and I'm really worried that I'm going to get a figure that's going to cost me an arm and a leg, and those pieces are going to break permanently, and I won't be able to fix them. Another very minor complaint I had is that the shield connection that connects to the arm is very, very fragile. If you even tap the shield or look at it wrong, it will come flying off of the arm. And I don't like, and again, this is very, very minor, I don't like that some of the accessories were placed in a plastic bag and shoved underneath the plastic tray in the box. I actually store all the accessories in the tray and in the box, and when I opened up those pieces, now there's nowhere to store them because they don't have a spot in the tray. Again, it's extremely minor stuff. I think it's worth mentioning, but other than that, it's a really solid figure. It has a really neat storage gimmick for the rifle and the machine gun. It comes with just about all the accessories it needs in terms of like weaponry and things. The beam sabers work well. All the functions work really well. Again, aside from the shield part and maybe the machine gun storage, it's a little flimsy as you saw earlier in the video. For me personally, like I said earlier, I don't quite like the design of the rifle, the newer design. I think it's from the master grade, or one of the model kits is where this rifle design came from. And I'm just not a big fan of it, but it is what it is. But other than that, I'm really happy that I bought it. It's fairly inexpensive. As you can see, it's a smaller boxed figure, very similar to the Cold Climate GM. So if you're able to pick it up, absolutely do so. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.